Welcome to Wolves After Dark, where we're going to have a really fun time talking about the Timberwolves, who have lost 6 games in a row.
Only? Wait, in a
Only
row?
six. Only 6 in a
Can we
row.
go for 7?
We probably will.
I
I
think
think
so
we'll
too.
find a way. Well, the Timberwolves lose to the
Oh, we just lost a
Pistons.
viewer as of going live.
They're like, wait, no, I thought we won.
Yeah.
Yeah, so not a fun day, not a fun game. But let's talk about it. Let's vent. Let's see what's next for the Timberwolves, which I have no idea.
Ooh,
Um,
haven't looked that far ahead.
I haven't either. We were talking about this a little. Shout out to our Discord, but we were talking about this a little bit in the Discord. We've had some like trade proposals come through. We've had some like just like general topics of like, oh, should we have Dilo on the team? Should we have Towns on the team? Should we have Gobert on the team? But like realistically, other seasons, I'm like a really big fan of like thinking of trades. Even when we're doing okay, like I'm like this person that is like being like the 2K GM, and I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
yeah, let's like see as much as we possibly can. This year, I just feel sadness and I don't really feel hope. Like, because like we just traded everything for Gobert, so like we can't. There's no moves out there that I feel like get me excited, or even players that I think of, like one that's floating out there in like the clutch sports world or whatever. I don't
Mhm.
even know, of like D'Lo plus like Torian Prince to the Miami Heat for Kyle Lowry and somebody or something. And it's like,
What is that going to do for us?
what does that do for us? What does that do for them? Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just a weird trade. So like, there's a lot of those kind of trades out there right now, and I just don't know. I don't know. Like, that's where I am right now. Is we just need to start winning, and I don't know how that happens because I like how Ant is playing. Ant has looked really good. I mean, I think it's good for him to not have. I mean, he's getting so much usage just because Carl's out, so he gets to like really do everything.
Mhm.
But he can't do literally everything, which is what it's kind of turning out to be. And it seems like everybody's just deferring. Well, they're deferring to Ant in a lot of senses, but then at the same time, like it's just like we've got people like Jaden out there, or Jalen Noel, um, just driving to the hoop every single time, regardless of how many defenders are there. We've got Rudy Gobert demanding the ball. There's just a lot of stuff that I don't like, and the only thing I do like is Ant.
Yeah, there's no consistency with this team, but should be honest with ourselves. We were not coming into the season like what it's going to need for us to be successful. Um, we're injured. We can't use that as an excuse, but we're injured, and we were half butt cheek today, with Ant, and he was still kind of 21 or 30 and whatever. So that's actually incredible. Still getting 30 points
It's
out of
crazy.
back to back efforts of 30 plus or whatever. I think he was 28 yesterday. Um, uh, we were in all of these games, these last 3 games since our last show, the Pelicans, the Bucks, and now this one. We were in. We were ahead in all of these games by potentially double digits in all of them, which means one thing: we have a first half gusto is what I meant to say, and a second half collapse. Like the second half, we don't know how to adjust. We can't contend with alternate ways to play. We have that one mindset, and we kind of go with it, and it definitely distills and like kind of unwinds into hero ball, and it unwinds into I don't know how to give each other a chance or a play for each other. They stop working for each other, and it's just we saw that last season. We saw that year prior, and it's kind of like this, consistency within rebuilding and restructuring our team is a lack of it, really.
Mhm.
So um, I'm frustrated with how the season has gone down. This has been kind of very up and down year. Like if we look at to the beginning of last year, where we were kind of still around the same 16 and 20,
Mhm.
we were stressing out, but also at the same time we were having fun with some of the things that we were seeing. Now, uh, this has felt like the most gutless, like like lack of energy. There's just like no words to describe this season other than just simply we can't wait for it to be over.
It is. And we just keep saying the same thing over and over again. We just let whoever the best shooter is on the other team, we just let them shoot. And not only
Oh
that,
my gosh.
we just give up every rebound. Like it's not only that we're just letting the shooters shoot, It's that we let them shoot, and then we're not there for the rebound. So like we're
Mark,
not doing either side of the equation that you need to do. Like,
yeah,
I mean, like obviously you want to defend whoever. I mean, tonight it was Bogdan, whatever his name is, and like it was him tonight.
Boogie.
But yeah, Boogie. But like every night that we play, there is a player like that we don't close out to. But at the same time, we're not rebounding. So where are we? We're not trying. We're just not trying.
We're somewhere in the middle where it's like,
Yeah.
yeah, not trying. um, yeah, contesting shots apparently is like half of the game, and some people aren't doing it. The scheme is not allowing people to do it, and even when Ant is doing it, they're still making shots in front of their faces. So,
Yeah.
um, I don't know. Like, I give all the props for Ant to like not collapsing already and not like giving up already and not saying,
Mhm.
"Oh, this is like dumb how this season has transpired." So he could walk with that kind of like just shame running around his face, but he's not. He's at least trying and he's showing up. And, you know, if this was a former version of his team with Wiggins at the helm here, he would be deferring to,
Yeah.
all these other players. He would be in a corner sulking or he would have his hands behind his hips. It's really fun to see Ant at least try. And yeah, it's good to see him, get shot ups that he would normally have to think twice or three times about because we had other star players or other
Yep.
I shouldn't even say star players, other players around that need the ball too. One thing I'm noticing is that there's like a kind of like a hot potato with the ball. Like I don't want to take the shot. I don't want to be the one who takes this possession. The two or three people that are like I feel like working in this like time between Cat is Nas and Ant, and that's like the only two people. But
Mhm.
Nas has been inconsistent and with his time and his effort. So yeah, I
And
mean Marvin. Go ahead. Go ahead. Sorry.
yeah, like the other person that's kind of weird in this situation is D'Lo, because
Yeah.
D'Lo has technically played well over the last month. I couldn't believe it when Michael Grady said tonight that D'Lo was looking to close out the month of December with
On the high.
50, 40, 90 stats.
Yeah.
And I was like, really? But we all know that it's like, I mean, there's more to just his shot making. Like, that's not the only thing we need from D'Lo. Like, there's a lot of effort that goes into it. There's a lot of defense. There's a lot of rebounding. There's a lot of box outs. There's just things like that we don't get from D'Lo. Even when he has a good night, it's really there's just more factors to it. So yeah, I mean, we're just stuck in a place right now where Ant is not capable of willing this team to victory on a nightly basis, or I mean, really at all, because there's just nobody else around that can be consistent enough. He is the only real consistent thing right now, which is fun. Like I can't lie, like it's very fun to watch, and like, he's been super efficient too. It's not like he's like 10 of like 30. Like tonight, he was like 10 of 20. So like. I mean, these are like relatively efficient nights. He's getting a lot of rebounds. He's getting a lot of assists. He's getting his steals and blocks. Like he's a superstar, but you can't in this NBA. You just can't win with one player like that.
Yeah. Um, I will say I watched these last three games and kind of enjoyed a large chunk of them too. I thought
Mm-hmm.
that the care, like the I don't know, Dave Benz or Dave Benz. Oh my God, rest in peace. Jim Pete uses the stick to itiveness kind of comment every now and then, and they cared. They showed that they had some energy, and like despite the godlike builds of the football players and Giannis and Zion, we still kind of defended. We still
Yeah,
kind of boxed out with our butts. Like I felt like we were growing in those last two games, and here was kind of
100%.
like a repeat of normal
Yeah.
form
Yep.
where we don't get up for the competition. This is the worst team in the league, supposedly, and right, like if D'Lo didn't shoot the way he shot, we were blowing out. We were gonna get blown out.
Yeah.
So it's just like we had no energy, no effort, no desire. Um, Common tropes for a Timberwolves team, I think, even when fully healthy.
Mm-hmm.
So something has got to give. Something's got to change. It's got to be top down. It's got to be somewhere in the middle. Like maybe that's the ticket. It's somewhere in the middle because we don't guard, we don't shoot, and we have to do something different in the middle. So, who are those pieces that we can maybe move? Who are those people at the top that we can maybe replace?
Yeah.
And that might be happening right now on a whim. We could just talk about it ad lib, or we could kind of, get drunk tonight and go to the clubs and bring in the new year in 2023 with tax evasion.
Tax evasion. Yeah. I think that's a great question, and I think that chat should answer that. Speaking of chat,
Whoa!
we've got, yes, I hope this team gets moved and rebranded. May or may not have been talking about that in the Discord tonight.
Join us.
Yeah, I think we should all of us here today should make a pact. If the Timberwolves suck for the rest of this year, yes. If the Timberwolves suck for the rest of this year, we can be Timberwolves fans until there's a Seattle team. And then when there's a Seattle team, we all go to Seattle, become Supersonics fans, and we live happily ever after, never having to worry about some no-name scoring 30 on us and getting their career high. That sounds pretty nice to me.
I don't know. But LeBron just turned 38 and he scored whatever the fuck he scored on his 38th birthday. That made me feel pretty small. Luka goes for like 40 on back-to-back games, and we don't have a player like that right now. Like, I think Ant could be that guy, but he's not shooting with that much. He's not wanting to take that many shots.
Yep.
I think he's looking to pass as much as he's looking to shoot these days, and that's why there's a lot of turnovers that you're seeing.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have that player anymore. Cat could go for 60 against the Spurs once, and then he gets praised about it. It's a championship that we've definitely won, but we don't see it really regularly, or we don't see like that 40-point clip, So, I mean, we have a team full of potential stars, all stars, but not one or two or three ever really show up. The way that we want them to show up on a consistent basis. Well,
but yeah, Gerald, hot take, and feel free, leave your comments in the chat. If you have any questions, let us know. But Finch needs to go. Hire Quinn Snyder. That is the first step. Trade
Nathan
Dilo,
Grella comes in hot.
Cat, and trade Noel. Holy.
Oh, wow.
Ooh, okay.
Tim Connolly was offered a piece of ownership to be the fall guy, to make the fans hate the team, to make the move more plausible.
Nathan, are you in the Discord? I legit just said this in the Discord before we went live. That is crazy. I was thinking the same thing, because I think it, like, if we're really getting tinfoil hatty, and we don't have to go too far into this,
tinfoil hatty.
Yeah, but like, the team being in Seattle would have to be more profitable for the owners, for everybody, because it is just such a large city. Obviously, there should be basketball there. It's insane that there's not. Keep in mind, I am biased. I currently live in Seattle, but I do think that it makes more sense to have the team there. I'm not saying that Minneapolis shouldn't have a basketball team, but like, if you were owning a team, I think you would want it to be at the price of a Minnesota team and then move it to Seattle. That's just my random thoughts. But as Gerald said in the Discord as well, shout out Gerald, and shout out Discord, his ownership is tied to playoff success, though. So there is that. But, these things, people that are rich, they just do lots of weird things. So I wouldn't put it past anybody.
We haven't seen any recent examples of that. So yeah. I don't know. Rich boys doing dumb things. I don't know. To the rumors, to the hype of this team or lack of, to the energy in the room. Like, do we need team meetings? Do we need a KG night? Like, do we need to bring back Trenton Hassel and be like, Trenton Hassel night, Latrell Sprewell in the stands?
The answer is Pat Bev.
Yeah, dude, I don't know, like, who's coaching this team on the court? Like, who's coaching this team at all? Like, Finch seems like he had a good rapport with us for a while, but like, we have to put it on someone, and we have to put it on multiple people right now, because the growth of this team is not what we've been wanting and or expecting. And I didn't expect a championship team this year, but it definitely felt like it was more within reach than it is now. That's kind of embarrassing to admit, that this team looks and has shown to be the worst team in the NBA, losing to the worst team in the NBA, right?
Yeah.
Like, losing to Bogdanovich and Scraps.
Like, literally. Like,
and who's Bogdanovich? Crazy. Not even a top 100 player in the NBA.
Yeah. But he looked like it tonight. But that's what happens when you leave him wide open.
I suppose you
Um,
can look at a ref and then they'll call a foul for you.
that too. That was also a factor and is a factor, but I don't want to even get into the ref thing because that's just such a wormhole and another tinfoil hat type conversation.
It is a
But
tinfoil hat thing, right? Like we
yeah,
got clobbered by the refs in these games, but
all of them. Yep.
none of it matters
Mm-mm.
because we should have just had more energy, more aggression, more assertiveness. We're using our hands as if they're pieces. They are pieces of our body, but as if they are allowed to be used as pieces of our body for defending. It's like silly
Mhm.
as hell. I
It
don't know.
is. Yeah, no, I agree. And the thing also, you were mentioning it earlier. This is kind of jumping back to an earlier topic. We will get into the tier list here shortly, but um, these last couple games, I was feeling, even though we lost, I felt kind of good. Like you said it well. Like we put up a fight. We were like in it in a lot of these games. Like we had Ant on Zion, and we Ant even blocked Zion at a point. Like there was just like these fun moments. And even tonight there was fun moments, but like we're playing the Pistons. Like this is different. We were at the level of these other teams without Towns, without Rudy at times. Like there was just like it was exciting basketball. And up like the last game where Ant almost had that game winning shot, that would have been amazing. But um like tonight it just totally eliminated any amount of
Mm,
good feelings, good thoughts that I might have had about those games because this is just what we have seen for the better part of 2 decades as Timberwolves fans. Like this is just
yeah,
exactly Timberwolves basketball. Exactly.
damn it. You said it. Anything that we were thinking about the past
Mhm.
couple games that were positive have been stripped from my thoughts just now because of this game.
Yeah.
There are no takeaways. There are no like humble bragging about things that we've done or like what do they call them like um, losses that are moral victories.
Mhm.
Question for you
Yes.
from Music K Soul. When does Ant ask out?
Yeah. I hope no time soon. But
Yeah.
I mean it okay. This is me trying to fight through all the negative thoughts in my head right now. But I do think that we are still in the first half of the season. We are only uh, 5 games
Tomorrow.
under 500. Um, and we did have a good half of last year. Like we obviously went from the being 16 and 20 to ending up 46 and 36. But I think this season does tell a lot about what's going to happen. And then I don't think Ant asks out anytime soon. I don't. I mean, I don't think that it's pretty early for a player like that to do that. I'm not saying it's impossible, but I don't know. It just seems like that wouldn't happen. And I think if that happened, anything else that like I think they'd be moving other players before Ant does. If Ant it gave any amount of like, oh yeah, I'm unhappy, they're gonna try to like move around him. I think so.
I think the earliest, just to be money smart for Ant is a year and a half from now.
Yep. Yep.
Like you get your extension, you sign your extension, you get your extension, and then you ask out. That means worst case scenario, like 18 more months of this, and then we also have a trade on our hands.
Mhm.
So it would probably feel like we feel low right now. That would probably be the lowest moment. Like I would consider unsubscribing from Wolves After Dark.
Yeah, yeah.
Like that's how low I would be.
I would be also we would just play the intro on loop for like
Yeah,
24 hours straight every day,
yeah, yeah.
which would be enjoyable.
I don't
Don't get
know,
me
man.
wrong. But
There's a girl
yeah,
out there that does that. That
the
like music on
lo-fi.
lo-fi.
Yeah,
Maybe we could do that with wolves
we'll
with
make a
wolves themes.
lo-fi wolves channel. That's what it will be after we lose out this season.
Yeah,
That's what we'll be.
we should just
Um
be 8-bit ourselves, man. That'd be pretty sick.
yeah. Jake Erickson, happy New Year's, though. I appreciate it. Happy New Year's to
Yeah.
you. And happy New Year's to everybody in the chat. If you're new here, subscribe. We do this after every Wolves game, wink, wink. Um,
Whenever we feel like it, also.
whenever we feel like it. But
And to all you Timberwolves daily haters, we
yeah,
with you. We with you.
We're with you. Down with Cooper. No. I hope you're watching this.
Yeah, he's
Otherwise, people are
definitely
gonna like
not.
reporting this to you.
Yeah,
Um,
I just
but
feel
yeah.
embarrassed. This season, unlike any other season, I had the most like sure feeling, and I was telling my friends that are Warriors fans, watch out. And I was telling my Portland, cohort, can't wait to see you in December, because I'll be there and I'm going to kick your butt. And I just felt so good. I felt so confident. That move felt good on paper. Man, on
Mhm.
paper it's not on court. On paper it's not in December, and January doesn't seem great. We're going to face Denver, Portland, the Clippers. You know, these are all losses.
Mhm. Yeah.
I would say even with a healthy cat right now, the current scheme, the current
Mhm.
output from this team is just vomit, and I don't think vomit can compete with any team right now.
No, it's yeah, I agree. I don't think that Cat being back helps. We were having a discussion again. I keep shouting out the Discord,
Shout out
which
to
is
Wisdom Teeth.
shout out to Wisdom Teeth as well. And then Gerald saying, "Got any good pills?" But um, but yeah, I mean, like, I don't know. It's just, I'm thinking of this comment that Gerald left. If we lose Ant, I'm done being a fan since '93.
Yeah,
I
I think so.
I think that's fair. I think we can't lose somebody like Ant. But yeah, I think even with Towns, I'm back on track now. Back with Towns, like I don't think anything changes. Like we were talking about this. This is where I was. We were talking about it in the Discord. Um, Ant has or Cat has a gravity to him, regardless of how many stupid things he does in the game. There is a game plan around Cat. Obviously, he gets doubled, and then he has to pass out of it, which he is somewhat successful on, somewhat not. But like either way, the plan for the other team is to take Cat out of the game as much as possible, and then hopefully that leads to Ant. But the problem is that we aren't when Cat is in the game, we aren't treating Ant like he is now, like the superstar of this team. We're treating Cat like he's the superstar of this team. So Ant is passive, Dilo is passive, and they're all trying to get Carl going, which at times makes sense, but it the games that we've had with all of them together just hasn't worked. We just haven't seen it work together. And so even when Towns gets back, especially now when Towns gets back since he's been out now, we're gonna have to figure it all out again. And that's going to be a learning process. And that could take the whole year. Like, if we're really thinking about it, like, that could take the whole year.
Yeah, I don't know. What have we learned since Towns is out? Because it was nice to have a break from him, just to like,
Yes.
and that's like not. I'm not even saying that like negatively, just to like
Hmm.
see what we have,
Hmm.
because we're so reliant on the top part of our roster.
Yep.
Like what does the Bucks look like without Giannis? Well, they have a deep fucking roster.
Yep.
What that can all kind of pick up the slack. I feel like what do the Pels look like without Zion? They've had to learn how to deal without Zion
Hmm.
for years.
Yep.
So like they have figured it out. They have pulled pieces around, and they look great. Like they're the top of the West right now. Don't look now, but they look great.
Yeah.
Um, the Kings, like they are filling in holes with pieces that fit and matter. And what did we say? Like our bench could have been like top tier.
The best bench we've ever had.
Yeah, and it's kind of bad.
It's pretty
They're
bad.
kind of not uh, supplementing what is on the court where they're not out there. When they have they have to be ready on a moment's notice, next man up mentality. But it seems like they're just kind of showing up for the paycheck sometimes.
It does. And
It
I
cool.
mean,
It's go ahead.
I was like, I said this before, but like, I was so excited for Bryn Forbes, even though he was just a minimum contract. I was like, oh man, a 3-point shooter. This is like Beasley for a minimum. No. and
Oh
like,
no.
and then like Matt Ryan, I was even a little excited when we signed Matt Ryan, even though I thought it was pretty comical when we did. But I was like, he was hitting some threes for the Lakers, so what's to say that he can't hit some threes for us? And like he has been off. He has not been awful for the last like 2 games, but beyond that, like he's been, and even I mean, he hasn't been that good. He has hit like a three or two in those
Mhm.
games. But like these are the players that we're relying on right now, and we can't use the excuse of, oh well, like Torian Prince isn't out there. like, sure, Torian Prince isn't out there and that hurts us, but he is not the missing piece that like suddenly solves all of our issues.
Yeah, holy crap. Right.
So
And
like, yeah, there's just a lot. There's just way more than just like one or two players. It's the whole bench.
yeah, I think you're also lying to yourself if you're someone who rhymes with Tim Connolly. I can't even come up with something that rhymes with Tim Connolly that thinks like, we need to shore up our defense because of how humiliated we felt versus the Grizzlies, Brandon Clark kicking our ass by bringing in someone to double down on defense, and everyone else will fall in line. You're kidding yourself to say that there's no culture, uh, 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 like ramifications for gutting it,
Yeah,
for
yeah.
for tossing it to the curb, for peanuts, for
Mhm.
and actually throwing in extra flyers and first round picks for someone who doesn't speak, who is a butthole in Rudy Gobert, like touching like, and he's just a dumbass, I think. Anyways, I just don't know. Like, there's no culture here. There's no emphasis on each other, and I think there's these little notes of it, like with Nas and Jalen and Baby Mac, right? They all matter, but like,
Mhm.
and then Jaden and Ant, and like even like D'Lo kind of fits into that piece a little bit. But like, Cat is hard to get along with. Cat doesn't really exude culture.
Yeah.
He's just more like a stat suit. He's a Kevin Love. He's a dude
Mhm.
who is tall and is gifted and can shoot the three without needing to jump.
Mhm.
Like, he has a lot of skill, a bag and a tote and a man purse, but a team wins the game, right? I don't know. And so it's frustrating to see how someone at the top thought, all we needed was gut the culture. It's going to take gut the culture, gut the future, and gut our identity for doubling down on defense when like every team in the league is more suited for the regular season to chuck threes and get through the season by chucking threes. There was a stat, um, I think Jim Peterson said, as we're going to transition to the tier list,
Yeah.
I think soon here. Um, we were 12-3 when we shoot threes. Well, first of all, we have 12 wins. That's awesome. I didn't know that actually.
Yeah.
I'm forgetting how like decent we could have been,
Yep.
but it's been like 40 games already, and we are dog shit. And we are not shooting threes. And when we do, we have hesitancy, and we don't have the correct lineup out there. We have a terrible like hockey lineup rotation where we have five out there that look like they don't belong. Um, it's crazy when we substitute our starters back in. We have like Gobert and Austin Rivers in as starters with scraps, right? Like,
Mhm.
there's no offensive fluidity when we switch players. And also, just like, I don't know, I feel like I'm just running my mouth here, but where is the 3-point shooting coming from? Like, it has to come from Ant. It has to come from D'Lo. It has to come from those players like Cat. But then Cat doesn't even, as the best man, best shooting big of all time, doesn't even take that many threes.
Yeah.
So like
No.
when he comes back, what is going to happen? It's frustrating because the regular season matters because it's so important to get seeding, especially in the West that matters so much, right? Right now it's depleted of talent, so any win is so like magnificently more important than it was in seasons past. Wins matter, and it's really embarrassing. Any win that we had is negated by a loss like this.
100%. 100%. And I mean, this is just such a gutting loss that it's just like, I mean, it just ruins everything.
Yeah.
But here we are at the tier list. If you're new here, just to give you a little rundown, C, this is just for tonight. C is what we expect out of a player. A1 is an unforgettably good game, like Cat's 60-point game against the Spurs last year, or like Ant getting an almost triple double, or I can't even, like, there's these like obvious games that are A1. And then Wancho is obviously self explanatory. And then Glenn Taylor is always Wancho. So, like, permanently bad. Um, and everything else in between. So, um, I don't care who we start with tonight. Whoever you want to start with, I'm totally fine with. I don't even remember who played because it was such a bad game.
Let's start with someone you mentioned kind of as a disappointment this whole season is Bryn Forbes, who didn't even get to play tonight.
Yeah.
These last 3 games, we're depleted. We need 3-point shooting. We need energy. We need some sort of burst. Isn't that who he is? And he doesn't get
Hmm.
played. Glenn Taylor. For the whole year, Glenn Taylor, but like even
True.
more so. Like he's just absolute dog shit.
Yeah.
And he's in the dog house or whatever, and he can't get out, cage lion style. And I don't know. He hasn't shown anything. And I thought he would be that player who could give us a spark off the bench, and he has not been anything. Kind
Hmm.
of like a season review to an extent, mid-season review. But like
Seriously, yeah.
this game, we didn't see him. The last 3 games, we didn't see him. He was against his former team. We didn't see him. It just means how terrible he actually is, and what kind of like what did we see in Noel that we lost Beasley and we compensated with Forbes? No, it's
Yeah.
just so silly because Beasley was just a chucker, but god damn it, we need a chucker right now
And he's
in
playing
the worst
so
way.
damn well this year. It's crazy. It's
Yeah,
crazy.
he's doing well because they're playing 5 out and they're at least winning games.
Hmm.
Like fuck the playoffs, win games first.
Seriously. Yeah. 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 God.
The Pelican game, they were sold out.
Yeah.
They're just winning games right now. Also, they look great, but they're just winning games right now. I don't know. All right, cool. We're done with that guy. Luca Garza didn't play tonight. Played his butt off. Was one of the top 3 players of the night last night against the Bucks. Um, I don't know, man. I want
Yeah.
to see more Luca in the time where we don't know what the fuck we are.
Hmm.
Luca, Minot, and more are our
Hmm.
future. Like, develop them, put them out there, get them
I
some play. Because right now we were playing with a one butt cheek, and we are playing with Dilo, who doesn't give a shit, who unfollows us on Instagram apparently.
yes, yes. I think I was expecting to see a lot more. Well, first I was expecting maybe Rudy and Ant to be out tonight, and maybe even Kyle Anderson. So I was expecting to see a lot of Luca Garza. I was expecting to see Josh Minot. I was expecting to see more. But like we, first they all played, but even still, I was expecting to still see them, and we just barely got any of that. Like we didn't get Minot. We didn't. Did we not get any Garza? For some reason, I thought he was in there for like 30 seconds.
Uh,
I could be
it
totally
didn't
imagining that.
register. They
It could
probably
have
just
been it could have been Matt Ryan too, it's hard to tell them apart. But
yeah from our confines of our Seattle location.
yeah, we're pretty far away. But um but either way, I agree. I think it would have been more exciting to have a little bit more of him out there. Like defensively, he's a struggle, but like he had some offense for us the last game, which was like kind of fun. but
Yeah,
um
it was fun. I
but
think
yeah.
we need that more than anything just to get excited. Like that first quarter, like we barely talked about this game. That first quarter was fun. It looked like we gave a shit. We just ran out
Mhm.
of gas, just like we did in the Bucks game, just like we did in the Pelicans game. We just ran out of gas. We ran out of steam. We ran out of bodies to an extent too. Um, so it was interesting to see Luca Garza out there yesterday as like a spell for today. But like I really wish we saw him again today. All right, cool. I don't know what to put him, but like I would say B tier for Luca Garza. But
I'm
other than
down.
that, even though he didn't even play, he might be the
Yeah.
top player of the night. All right, so of the players that played from the bench, let's go with Jalen Noel to start.
Okay.
18 minutes, 4 of 9 from the field, 9 points, and some other small stats. Before I give a grade, my 2 cents are I thought his first stint looked great because
Mhm.
he made a three, he made a driving like mid ranger. He just looked like the part of the part that we needed. And
Mhm.
then it just all just like went to fuck. Like then he started like shooting over triple teams, like passing turnovers to like Gobert and not passing the like Gobert puts his arm up and then Noel bounce passes it to him so he's late to the pass. It's just like okay,
Mhm.
great. And now what? So
Yeah.
he doesn't know his own role. But a grade for Jalen Noel in 3, 2, 1, D.
D.
Yeah.
Yes. I like it. Yeah, I'm just I hate that I'm such a Noel hater, but right now, but like I have not enjoyed his basketball recently. I mean, you said it very well. Like there's like it's like half there, half totally not. Like he when he's playing well, it's really fun to watch. But when he's playing bad, it's really, really bad. Like very detrimental to the entire team bad. Um, so I just I don't know. I like the player that Jalen could be. There was, like we just mentioned, there was the thought of Jalen possibly filling in that role for Beasley, um, but it just hasn't been that. And he's trying to create a lot of offense, which again, when it works, it looks really good. And when he like attacks at the right times, but there's other times where he attacks against three people. So you know, I'm just rehashing everything that you said, but like it's just true. Like it's frustrating to watch right now. So.
Yeah, team high -23
Ooh.
versus the Pistons, who what? Like,
Yeah.
how does that happen? I guess your counterpoint, Corey Joseph, goes off for the same amount, but like he did so much more that is not recorded. That you can just see from a standpoint of like wanting to will to win. Um, Jalen Noel belongs in the G League? Nah. Jalen Noel belongs in the NBA? It has yet to be seen. I don't know. Is there a B League? Maybe he belongs there.
Yeah.
Um, Austin Rivers, 18 and a half, 19 minutes, sorry. 3 points, a bunch of shaking his heads, and
Hmm.
that's it. A grade for him in three, two, one.
D.
D. Not Wancho, because at least he's
Yeah.
not starting anymore.
Yeah.
Um, everything that I feel like we looked at Beverly as a um, product of the coach on the court, as a defensive, like pusher and motivator and like established identity on the court. They thought they could replace with fucking Austin Rivers.
Yep.
I swear, man, like that's what they thought
Yeah.
they could do. They could replace the pieces that we had. Connolly traded Beasley and Vando before. He did it again. He's a stubborn piece of shit. And we have no one to replace that identity, no one to
Hmm.
replace that hustle and energy. And we threw in Beverly. I don't understand why we threw in Beverly for that trade, but
Yeah. I don't
we
understand
got
why they even wanted him in the first place, but whatever.
we got Austin Rivers, who apparently Connolly loved.
Yeah.
And like I'm failing to see why. I'm failing to see like, oh, this makes sense
Hmm.
um, because we at the start of the season we were like, why the fuck did we get him again? Because when is he going to see the court?
Yeah. Yeah. And then now he's started for us this year. It's just insane.
And
Uh,
it's just really hard for like me to get up and to get excited for a player like Austin Rivers, but he's not really showing anything for us. Like he's showing that he is trying to practice his new shot form. Like that's like
mhm.
literally legitly all we get to see from him. I think he's more of a liability than is let on defensively, and I also just strongly feel that he can never be there for us. He can never be that one person, that like
Yeah.
extra piece for us that other teams rely on their bench. We have to rely on Austin Rivers.
Yeah. Yeah. Brother. Okay, who's up next?
Well, he does have a brother,
He
and we
does.
saw that
I
on
didn't
the
realize that.
Pelican broadcast.
Yeah, that was the first time I knew he had a brother.
Mhm. I'm going to skip over Matt Ryan because
Yep.
just token white boy stuff. Nas Reed
Basically.
though, 24 minutes, 3 for 6, 9 rebounds, 6 points. He's like our he's like our what is that, like the microwave scorer off the bench these days, and so to only score
These
six
days, yeah.
points. A grade for Nas Reed in three, two, one.
D.
D.
The only reason I hesitate is because like realistically, what do I expect from Nas? Certainly not what he's been doing for us lately. Because lately he's been like balling out. But like this also, I guess this is like somewhat swayed by his recent performances because like we needed more Nas tonight. We needed more of his threes. We needed more of his like dunks. We needed a lot more of that. Like he had that amazing, and honestly, maybe it should be a C. Maybe I should have said C just for that first block alone. Like that was incredible. Hearing that call from Michael Grady and then Ant
Yeah,
dunking
that
it at the
was.
other end, that was fun. Um, like I wasn't expecting it to get that exciting in their early game like that. But and then he had another block later in the game too. But we just needed more scoring from Nas, and that's what we usually look for from Nas, and we just didn't have that tonight.
Yeah, you're right. I could potentially put this up into a C category just for that block alone, but we lost to the Pistons. We need more output
Yeah.
from anyone. Defense isn't going to do it for us in a game like this. We need to just outscore the opponent. As simple as it sounds, as John Madison that it sounds. You need to have 11 players on the court. You need to score more points. You gotta give it. You gotta put in the effort.
Mm-hmm.
Um. All right. Well, D for Nas.
Oh yeah, whoops, I didn't put him there.
That's all right.
D.
It sucks. I'll see you. I'll see you next time, Nas. But on to the starters. And oh boy, is Luka Garza going to be top tier of the list tonight? Let's start out with someone who I feel I have defended the most on this show. You've been up and down the most on the show.
Mm.
I mean, it's two people. It's a cast of two people. And the community at large has been in love with, but has now soured on the recent developments of Jaden McDaniels.
Mm.
33 minutes, 3 for 11 from the field, 0 for 3 from 3. Why is he starting? Oh, it's because of his defense. But foul prone, as always. 8 points and 6 rebounds. That's pretty interesting tonight. But in a game where it mattered for other people to step up, he sure did not. A grade for Jaden McDaniels in 3, 2, 1.
Wancho.
Wancho.
Yes. Oh, I love this. I feel better already. Yeah, I think I just like you're right. I've been up and down on I was gonna call him Wancho. I've been up and down on Jaden. Um I was really looking forward to him coming into this season. And tonight is one of those games where your lesser players, and I'm not saying that Jaden is not a good player, but like you're playing the Pistons, the worst team in the league. Like this is where you have some of your players like Jaden. When the bad Timberwolves used to go up against teams, like you had to have these random. Me and Ashman would joke about it all the time. Like we'd have these random, like how Conchar would go off for like 20 rebounds in a game, or like just some random person would go off for like their career high in points. Like that is what you do against bad teams. You have these players that kind of come out of nowhere and have their like shining moment. And like this is the game where a player like Jaden that's been in the league. I mean, he hasn't been in the league that long, but like he is good enough to be able to take advantage of a team like this, offensively and defensively, and we just aren't seeing that, and it's becoming consistent. Um, I hate to say that, and maybe it is something I said this a couple nights ago, but maybe it is something that we just need to wait for the end of the season for all our guys to apparently warm up for like 40 games. But like, I mean, right now it's Wancho.
Yeah. And I think like as borderline sad as it sounds, he's kind of been a D tier player this year for us.
Mhm.
There were the 5, 6 games that he looks great in, but like we're now 30, 40 games in, I think. And that's the same amount of games that Dilo's looked good in. And he's looked like kind of like a D level player for us too this year. So the growth that we need to see from, our starter who's probably going to be the fifth option, fourth or fifth option, is unfair to an extent. Like we need to see him score double figures. We need to score, have him on the court and guard the best player every given night. But on any given night, we also are down people. We have the next man up. So just like as you said, he's just not putting it out there, and not the aggression that we get from him are these like soft floaters that like kind of like edge on going in and out. And if they go out, like what the fuck is that shot for? So um, the transition stuff that he shoots with 3 players in his face is like this is not exciting stuff, and it also doesn't seem like it's something that we have in our playbook. It's more just ad libbing because he has the ball in his hands. Like,
Yeah, yeah, exactly. That is yes, that is what it feels like, and it's disgusting.
well, 16 points in the fourth quarter, uh, pretty ridiculously embarrassing. Kyle Anderson, welcome back to the squad. You were missed 35 minutes, 2 for 8 from the field, 12 points, 6 rebounds, and some other stuff. A grade for Kyle Anderson. I feel like we don't call him slow mo. I
No,
don't
yeah.
feel like the Timberwolves nation at large calls him slow mo. They call him Anderson. A
Mhm.
grade for Anderson in 3, 2, 1.
See,
C.
look at us. We're
Yeah.
so in sync today. I love it. We've been all over too, which is impressive. No, I think Kyle Anderson is our new our new Jaden. Like
Oh yeah.
he just kind of does all the dirty work. He does I mean like he does like weird offensive things that just end up working somehow sometimes. But yeah, I hate to just keep saying the same thing over and over again, but he's just ugly but efficient. Like it's ugly basketball, but it works. And he just does that every night. And to be honest, we were talking about consistency earlier. We don't have any other players other than Ant that are consistent. And honestly, maybe Kyle Anderson is one of those players that is somewhat consistent, but like obviously he's not the kind of player that puts you over in a night. Like that doesn't happen.
Yeah,
But I do think when we don't have him out there, his presence is like sorely missed.
I agree. He's a nice. I feel like it's also. I think he's won me over a little bit these last couple games, especially since he's been back. But I think he's the one dude who cares a lot more
Yeah,
than
yeah.
everyone else on the roster.
Mhm.
I just looked at fourth quarter stats because fourthquarterstats.only.com. You can subscribe and show feet there too. But we made 4 shots.
Nice.
Kyle Anderson didn't attempt one, and he played 10 minutes of the fourth quarter. Jay McDaniels 0 for 3. Guess what Ant and Dilo were in the fourth quarter?
It
And
wasn't good.
Dilo
That's
played
all I
the
know.
entire fourth quarter, apparently.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. I know it wasn't good because Ant was missing a lot in the fourth.
They were both 1 for 6, so combined 2 for
Mm,
12. Crazy.
bad.
Just ridiculous. And the person who kicked our shit was Hamidou Diallo.
Yeah. Timberwolves killer. That's another one of those
Timberwolves
Timberwolves killers.
killer. It was just the bench that scored for Detroit, by the way. Um, God, that's so stupid. And half the bench played the entire fourth quarter too. I don't know. I don't know. It's embarrassing, but
That's bad.
um, equally embarrassing is welcome back to the starting lineup, Rudy Gobert. I missed you. Not at all. He played 11 minutes of the fourth quarter, but notably, um, perfect from the field, 3 for 3. He missed half his free throws as is tradition. He got 10 rebounds. He got 9 points. That's a sign of a healthy first half stat line. However, for the full game, our grade for Rudy Gobert, a grade in 3, 2, 1. D.
Juancho?
Oh,
Oh, a little off. A
we are
little off.
split on the Goberts. We got to talk about them. Give me your
Yeah.
Give me your berries.
To be honest, I was in between D and Glenn Taylor, because he's just been kind of bad all season for us. He is not impacted. Okay, so I know that Rudy Gobert apparently went to like the New York Times and said like something. He was quoted about like, oh, like the casual NBA fan doesn't understand like how much I contribute to a team, but I know the GMs do, or something to that effect. I don't even know. Which I just found hilarious that he's getting quoted by the New York Times. But
Yeah.
but
Because everyone else is sick of his shit. He has to go elsewhere, other
yeah,
news outlets.
exactly. He has to go like national news outlets. It's just
Yeah.
super weird. But and like not, I don't know, it's just weird. But he like obviously he has a gravity out there defensively. He has a somewhat of a gravity offensively. Even like I think that there's a reason that Ant gets a lot more easy looks at layups this year. Because he's rolling with Gobert, and Gobert does pull people with him so that he can't get the lobs. So Ant's taking advantage of that, and like Noel is attempting to do the same thing. So I get it. Like there's an effect out there, but like I'm just questioning like how he's gotten so many rebounds in the past because like he seems really bad. Like his positioning, his hands, like obviously being 7'2" or whatever he is helps you get rebounds, but like it doesn't seem like it's helping that much. Like his most aggressive rebounds are when he's like not being contested for the rebound and he like smacks it together really hard like he like really was aggressively getting it and there was like nobody around. Because when there's people around there's a lot of like tapping it up or tapping it back, which you could attribute some of that to like the other Timberwolves players not being ready for that kind of a play, but like I don't know, like grab the rebound. So that's concerning. His inability to score while also demanding the ball to score is also concerning. I don't know. I mean, there just hasn't been a lot of good things from Gobert. We haven't seen a ton of shot blocking. We've seen more from like Nas tonight. But yeah, I don't know. I am not having fun in the Gobert experience right now.
Yeah, that's actually what it comes down to, is that he's not fun to root for, not fun to, watch on the court. He's slow. He doesn't feel like he fits with Ant and like how we want to play together with. And ultimately, a lot of small pieces that they're not, there's, square pieces and round hole kind of things.
Mhm.
So how does he fit? Tim Connolly, we need answers. Get on the podium now.
Yeah.
It's New Year's Eve, man. This is the time. I need a drink, I think. But Rudy Gobert for the season has been a D-level player for me. I
Mhm.
feel like in a nutshell, for those who are tuning in for the first time, he's aged out. Like the game has passed him by, and he needs to find a new way to fit in or get out of the league. Like I don't know why we hedged on this system so quickly without seeing it like piece together. Like, why didn't we get a flyer on someone who's just like a big dude and try it out? Like, why did we
Mhm.
never try like Nas and Cat on the court together just to feel it out before we go
Yeah.
all in and make a swing, right? Just to
Mhm.
see if Cat could play the four, just to see. Like, get some random dude like your favorite Dwayne Dedman, right? Just like get some
Yeah.
random dude, put him on there, and be like, get some rebounds. Ed Davis, let's return to Ed Davis.
Yeah.
Like to see
Yes.
how they play together.
We had Ed Davis forever. So
Yeah.
like, why couldn't we use him in these situations?
Yeah, and to answer your question about like why Gobert looked like he was just a gobbler of rebounds, for the most part, they practiced. I think they had practices. I don't know if they do that anymore in the NBA, but they practiced where they boxed out for Gobert. Like they boxed out other players, and like one person would sprint out, like Donovan Mitchell would sprint out, right? And they would
Mhm.
box out for Gobert. Gobert would have a lot more opportunities for rebounds because they're not rebounding. It's just Gobert. It's like,
Mhm.
all right, the stat stuffer is Gobert on defensive rebounds and, Mitchell on offense. Just like filling in the stat sheets. Like that was like a lot of their game plan. And then they obviously spread it out with Bogey and Conley coming in and, you know, Clarkson off the bench. It's silly. Anyways,
Mhm.
looking at our team, it's a lot of me. I want this. I want this. It's my turn. It's my turn. But then also, there haven't been practices. Like
Yeah.
I stress this because I don't know. Like we just saw. I don't know if you saw like a top play for the NBA the other day was Steven Adams doing a fucking jump ball pass, like tip pass, right at the jump, a pass to Morant for a dunk,
Mhm.
right
Yep.
versus some other team. I don't remember the team. Okay, cool. That was like a tip pass. Where does Gobert tip the ball to? He doesn't
Yeah. Yeah.
know where we stand. We don't know
Mhm.
where to stand because it's all ad libbing, it's all improvising, and it's because we don't know how to operate. We don't know how to bounce pass or lob it up to Gobert. We saw Joe Ingles versus the Bucks throw his like patented like underhanded swoop pass for
Yes.
Giannis for a dunk.
Yep.
We don't know how to get the ball to Gobert. Gobert doesn't know how to get the ball to us. Like there is so much tension and just needing to work out those kinks in practice to like have better chemistry on those little basic fundamentals that aren't even about rebounding or shooting or anything. It's just where everyone stands on the court. There's reasons why the Warriors won championships because they knew where each other were. So Draymond could drive and pass directly to the corner or directly to the top of the key or directly to that pie shape right there. It's like
Mhm.
basic stuff that we are still struggling with. I remember fucking Ryan Saunders putting numbers on the court to say, hey, this is where the percentages are. So
Yeah.
when you take your shots, think maybe shoot here instead of here because we don't even know where to be.
Mhm. I think, you've got me thinking now, and it's like I feel like Tim Connolly built this team to be like if Rudy Gobert was Jokic. And that's
Mm,
what he's built the team like now, but obviously Rudy is not like Jokic. So now it's kind of this weird because like he's obviously built a very Nuggets heavy lineup, but just with Gobert.
mm,
Um, and it sucks. So, yeah,
Quick side note. What's up,
phase
Drew
Drew
Nagy?
Drew
Our
Nagy.
boy, our boy, first time, maybe potentially first time watcher, but he was with us from the start. Um, uh, I met him in Seattle,
Oh
and now
yeah.
he's back in Minnesota. I think living
Oh,
his
so
best life in Minnesota. Yeah, and I don't know. He lived in Belltown. I remember that's all. That's all I remember. Yeah, a good dude. I met up with him in like a Wolves game for a picture. I think.
nice.
Anyways, it's cool to see you here. We do this periodically. It's the periodic
Periodically. Yeah.
after night or after dark show.
Wolves occasionally after dark.
Yeah. Um. Okay. Cool. So to now for the top two players of the night, top two in terms of points.
Disgusting.
He's locked. He's loaded.
He's D'Angelo
Angelo.
Russell.
34 minutes, 9 for 18 from the field. Nice. 5 for 5. Made all his free throws. He went to the free throw line too. That's cool. 5 assists, 25 points. And a dud in the second half. Like, I don't know. Where the fuck was he? I don't know.
Yeah, no.
A grade for Dilo in 3, 2, 1. C. I like
I
it.
don't know. I like because it. You're right. Like the first half, he was there. He was so hot in the first quarter. Like,
He's
what do
so
you have?
hot.
13
Yeah.
or 15 points in the first quarter,
Yeah. I'll check. He
and
had 13.
yeah, and then
What? Ant had 14 in the first?
oh
Man.
wow, I didn't know that. Crazy. But yeah, no, it's after that, he's just gone, And I can't remember who said in the Discord. It was probably Gerald, or maybe it was the big boy. I can't remember, but it was somebody was saying that they think that D'Lo has like purposefully like cost the Timberwolves games in like game situations. Hey, I mean, you can't prove it either way, so I guess it could be possible. um,
Yeah.
but yeah,
We can't spell calm without Connolly. And D'Lo is a friend of Oh, you're like, well, mine's exploded. And well, he had nothing to do with the trade for D'Lo, but I think his mind was like, I'm going to be a Timberwolves killer by joining the Timberwolves after the D'Lo trade. Yeah, D'Lo. What was that like? KG loves his players. Like, let's do Joe Smith under the table signing. Let's
mhm,
sign Troy Hudson to this millions and millions of dollars contract that he never sees the court. Like, bring in KG friends, and
yeah,
that's not how you do a team. Bring in D'Lo. Hasn't done anything in 3.5 years, right? Like, there's been some really fun moments where he was the reason why we were in a couple games. His creation is great for the first time viewers. Like, I love his passing more than his shot creation, and what he can do and what he can envision with Gobert, and it's not materialized. It's not become anything. And I thought he was a smart player. He's kind of a dud, as shown in previous games where he fouled Giannis with
mhm,
35 seconds to go away from the ball, thinking he was some sort of fucking cockeyed genius. He's just a cockeyed dumbass.
that's
And
crazy.
I think it's just rearing its head, man. Like, if he's not shooting, he doesn't know what the fuck to do on the court. And if he doesn't have the ball in his hands, he just looks abysmal. And we have a team full of players that need the ball in their hands. Like, Nas looks great with the ball in his hands. Like, I don't know what he does when the ball isn't in his hands, right? Like, I'm
Mhm.
rooting for you, Nas, but also it's like, what does he look like? I don't know. Like, if I'm D'Lo, unfollowing the team on Instagram, and Chucky Anthony that got brought up apparently, like, what is a system that fits him, and where could we
Yeah.
move him? And his value is not high,
Mm-mm.
so
I
like,
mean, the only value that he has right now is like if you need a point guard, which not many teams do, but if you need a point guard for this season, maybe only, and you just need somebody to legitimately just fill in a hole and take up $27 million on your roster for the year, and then either let him go or whatever you want to do, because that's like all there is to it right now. And we've been patient with him, hoping that he would return to, I guess, the Brooklyn D'Lo. I don't even know if that's what we want, but like, we've been hoping for something like that, and it just hasn't happened. D'Lo asked us to start cheering, standing, all that stuff, It hasn't happened, and now he's unfollowing people. Like this is Glenn Taylor level shit. But
Mm.
like, but this is, I mean, you're right. Like he's in this situation, and I don't know. Like, is there a better situation than the Timberwolves for D'Lo? Probably not. Probably not. And it's not working. So I don't. He has to adjust. And I'm not saying he was terrible tonight, obviously, but like he was in as a whole on a not just tonight scale. Like even though apparently he's almost been 50, 40, 90 for the month of December, like how much of that, we've talked about this with Cat before, how much of this is like actually truly like contributing to winning or just stat production. And right now it's definitely just been stat production because we aren't winning. So yeah.
Yeah. There's a breakdown of D'Lo's like uh repertoire on YouTube. I think it's fun to watch like what he can be and what he can has matured into.
Mhm.
He's more of an adult than he is a professional basketball player. I feel he's just not what I think we need on this team anymore. And as much as it would hurt Cat's feelings, I'm over feelings right now, and I'm over vibes as well, and I just need a team that I'm hungry to root for again. I am not satisfied, and I'm looking elsewhere. Like I'm looking elsewhere right now. It's
I
real
know.
sad.
I know.
Um, yeah, and I don't know. I don't know what D'Lo can do to change my opinion because that first quarter was like, oh, there's D'Lo. We
Mhm.
won't see him again for 10 more games.
Yep. Yeah. Exactly.
And oh, by the way, that's D'Lo who gets his early. Uh, no one else is getting theirs. When D'Lo's hot and he's like doing that like no 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 yes shot.
Mhm. Yes.
Like 5
Every
seconds to
shot
come
is.
off the clock. Yeah, yeah. Like that first shot that was like the top of the key. Like no, what are you doing? And then he
Yeah.
did it anyways. Um,
Oh yeah. Whoops! I
yeah,
didn't grade him.
it's all good. Two S's and two L's, and that's how you spelled Russell. Anthony Edwards played 10 minutes in the first quarter. Whoops. Anthony Edwards, 39 minutes, 10 for 21 from the floor, 4 for 10 from three. My boy, that's what I like to see, honestly. 6
Mhm.
for 7 from the free throw line on the end of a back to back. 7 rebounds, 5 assists. You know what gets undertold is all the ancillary stats that he gets these days.
Mhm.
3 blocks, 3
Yeah.
steals, 4. The 5 assists, kind of hanging around every game. Like he's
Every game. Mhm.
insanely well-rounded player. 30 points to back it up too. A grade for Ant, and I know that maybe I'm kind of like guiding your grade by saying these praises before the grade, but I hope you do it like as if you were voting for president. Grade in 3, 2, 1.
B.
B.
Yeah. I mean, it's crazy that that's a B because, like, you're right. Those extra stats that he gets on a nightly basis are ridiculously impressive. And unfortunately, they're going unnoticed because the team is losing. If the team was winning right now, he would be in discussions for most improved. He'd be in the discussions for I mean, if we were like a really good team and like winning, he would be in this legitimate discussion for MVP. But we're not
Oh
winning.
yeah. Mhm.
And like that is what it comes down to. You can't have a player, even regardless of how good he's playing, like there's no player that's gonna be MVP that loses this many games in a row. But we're not here to talk about being MVP. Um, we're just focused on trying to win a game against the worst team in the league, and we couldn't do it. Ant was the only one that showed any amount of real like life and hope to me tonight, as is most games now. Um, and we've already talked about it in the chat. Like, he like when does Ant ask out? And like, we've talked about it. Like, we don't think that it's going to happen for at least another year and a half, which is just like such a depressing conversation to have. But, um, but like, it's amazing to see him put this much effort still in. But I can't. It's hard to get motivated. It's hard for us to motivate ourselves to like do shows after games like this.
Yeah.
And he's playing in the actual games, so and putting in effort. last game he was almost injured, and then he comes back into the game and gets booed by the Milwaukee fans. Like
Dude.
there's just so crazy. So I give all the props to Ant, and I'm so even through this terrible stretch of games that we've had. Like I truly appreciate Ant on this team because he has been something fun to watch, even through all this terribleness. And it's the only thing I'm clinging on to right now.
That draft saved this franchise
Oh yeah.
more than the cat draft, more than the D'Lo trade. More, like didn't save our franchise, and to save this franchise, I think, from becoming the mediocrity, like middle of the pack, ship off this franchise to Seattle or something, right, or Vegas or whatever.
Mhm.
Like I legit want this franchise to succeed in Minnesota, not in Seattle. I really don't want to be rooting for this team in Seattle. I want a
Yeah.
new team to kind of bear my fruit with.
This is
But
my true feeling too.
yeah,
Yes.
but yeah, holy hell, we're lucky, but also we're wasting his time,
Mhm.
and that's
Yeah.
how I feel these days. We're wasting his time. He's playing. I don't understand how D'Lo can't get up on a nightly basis when he plays with Ant, who gets up on a nightly basis, who plays
Yeah.
out of his mind on like. Why is this not trickling down to the other players to you got to play for something. You got to have some more motivation. Is it your paycheck? Is it your fucking
Yeah.
your mom's watching? Like
Mhm.
Bryn Forbes, former team, still doesn't get in the court. Like what I mean? Like what are the motivations? Because like there's no one like harping on you on the court. There's no one like damning you in the locker room.
Mhm.
Um, the motivations have to come within these days, apparently. And uh, watching Ant play his ass off and you don't. I think is like sad. And like
Yeah.
Ant now trusts you less. And Ant now wants to play with you less. And now Ant wants out. And like, okay, maybe that it doesn't your prerogative to care about this team. It's more about your own entity and your product as a business as like a business, right? But like as a suitor for other candidate other teams. D'Lo, this might be your last contract.
Yeah. Like
I
it's
like what
at
does he look
least
like
at the
on any other team? He looks worse.
like legitimately, I wish I could. Like I haven't thought about it enough, but like, what is another team in the league going to offer him if he was available right now in free agency? Like, what is another team going to pay for D'Lo's services? I don't know. And I think D'Lo should be concerned about that. And maybe he's not. Maybe he's just totally focused on family, which is fair. You can do that. But this is a basketball show. So we're going to talk basketball. Like, he just isn't. I don't see how another team pays him anywhere near what he's making right now because he's what, making 30 million or something like that?
Yeah.
Like, he is not a max player. He is not a $30 million player. So, and that's even on a Timberwolves standard, which is a team that paid Andrew Wiggins the max, and we don't think he's a max player. So, like,
Yeah.
I don't know what a contract extension looks like for him. Like, is it a Malik Beasley like contract? Like, I don't even know. I really don't know. And would it be more, have even more team options? Like, it's kind of mind boggling.
Yeah, the teams are going faster, taller, stronger. They shoot threes. They play defense. They have a consistency that they can switch. D'Lo can't switch on anyone. He's picked on defense, and the other player in the room and on this team is Gobert. Like, what does Gobert get on the market? Like, let's say he's a free agent. Who picks him up
Yeah,
for that
yeah,
kind of money? Does he get Beasley money? That'd be bad. Like 16 million for a dude who can maybe play 20 minutes a game. Like it's just crazy. And speaking of Finch, or well, speaking of Gobert, like Gerald says, one question no one ever asks is Rudy causing locker room problems from the start? I don't know if he has um, a corner in the locker room, if that makes any sense. Like people care and respect him, but I don't
mhm,
think he's like kind of like there's like divides in the team. I
yeah,
don't think he's like causing any friction or bad vibes. I just think he's mostly probably as he looks like on the court, kind of quiet to himself. Um,
kind of a loner.
Kind of a loner, yeah, because he is sticking out like a sore thumb on this team, where
Hmm.
everyone's fucking under 28. He's 30, whatever the fuck
Yeah,
he is,
hmm,
and past his prime, where everyone is trying to like get theirs. He's got his right, so it's like now they look up to what he was able to do. and like Luka Garza, Naz Reid, Nathan Knight, like they're probably all a unit. They're all probably tight with each other.
Yeah.
Rudy probably doesn't give a fuck about him.
Yeah, probably. I think you're right. And there were rumors in Utah of Rudy being kind of a not a bad locker room presence, but like not a good one. And that
Yeah.
certainly could have come over. And I think that there still could be some amount of like newness to him being with the team. So that's why they're maybe not like
Oh,
buddy buddy
totally.
yet. But
Yeah.
like I think you're totally right in the fact that he might be in a corner by himself. Whereas Ant's got the Nate Knights, he's got the Naz Reeds, he's got Kyle Anderson, he's got all these people in his corner that are like Ant guys.
Yeah.
And Jalen Noel. Like there's all these players that are like have a pretty good relationship with Ant. But like it still seems like Rudy is just like this visitor on the team in a way. So
Absolutely.
that's
Yeah.
weird.
Yeah, like in Utah, he was probably looked at as a reason they were either successful or not, or the reason why they were the first seed out, or the first round exits and stuff, because
Yeah.
they could get any amount of wins they needed on the regular season, and Gobert looks go like Gobert because he's the only tall dude on their roster, like legit the only tall dude on the roster, and they were scoring in bunches with Clarkson and Mitchell. But you can't pin it on the new guy, on the guy who's young and unproven and
Mhm.
becoming this like celebrity and all-star with Mitchell. You have to pin it on someone else, because it's like, well, Gobert is getting guarded by Chris Paul. Like Gobert is being, attacked defensively, and he gets into foul trouble, and he looks like the person he looks like on our roster in Utah, like just foul prone and irrelevant. So it was so strange to me that like this wasn't evident, this wasn't clear, this wasn't like going to happen uh, in Connolly's eyes. Like the vision was, we wanted this, so like we wanted the pain, we wanted this. I actually am at a loss for words. Like, why did this trade actually happen? Because they're smarter people than we are, so they could have like had the case 1, 2, 3, 4 worst case scenario. And what's the worst case scenario if it's not this?
Yeah, exactly. And like, what other scenarios were talked about, if any? Also, another conversation. I keep shouting out the Discord tonight, but like another conversation we were having in the Discord is like, well, who was really a huge fan of this? Was it Connolly? Was it Lori and Arod? Like, who was the driving force behind wanting Rudy so much? I assume it's Connolly, um, but I mean, it could be any combination of those guys. So. Um, and like I don't necessarily think Finch was like desperate to go get him, but I think Finch signed off on it or something like that. So I don't know. There's a lot of different ways to look at this. There's a lot of different ways to evaluate this, but the only way that we can evaluate it right now is wins and losses. And the Timberwolves are currently 16-21.
Oh my god. And there's that is what, 37, that's like 40 games, that's the season's half over.
Mm-hmm.
And we can no longer say it's too early, we can no longer say it's too, I don't think we can say it's too late, but
Yeah.
I think that
It's
ship
just
has already sailed. Like
it's just time. Like things have to happen. And I know that there's injuries.
Ice
I
God.
know we're missing Cat, but like things have to change. And I don't know if that's roster moves. And I understand that like a lot of this does fall on Chris Finch. And I know I said this the other day, but like with coaches, like I don't know, I don't necessarily see a ton of value in switching out coaches all the time. Like I think coaches have a part in success, but like how big of a part of that success is that I don't know. Like, sure, there am I saying that Finch is perfect right now? Absolutely not. Like he clearly is not motivating the team. And maybe he is the thing that needs to change. But I don't think that like getting another coach in here suddenly just makes this team good. There is a lack of caring from almost everyone except maybe Ant. So
Yeah, who shows up now with a Micah Nori as the
yeah.
coach that didn't before,
Or Quinn Snyder or something
or
like
Quinn
that.
Snyder, who, yeah, we would have to like, and then the coaching staff who's like, why not us? We'll just like stop caring.
Yeah,
if
yeah.
Quinn Snyder gets picked up. Yeah, and this is a great point by Scott. Like, there is a legit reason why we got the trade, and we did
Mhm.
the trade for reasons that Cat was not expendable, but expensive to be both defensive anchor and shoot the lights out and score 30. It's taking its toll on Cat. Um, I get it.
Mhm.
Also liable on defense, so we have to supplement him with someone. Why could that have been, you know, someone who we already had? Like, uh, I don't know, like Vando, like was
Mhm.
there for us to do the double digit rebounding, and he did it in his own way. But like maybe we could kind of supplement and get someone who is not going to completely like shift the dynamics of this team, make this team like 130% slower than it was last
Mhm.
year. Like we're just not shooting threes anymore. We aren't shooting. We're not getting to 100 shots a game anymore. We're not like outpacing anyone. The stats that were like top of the league, we were best of quadrants of wow about. We
Yeah.
are quadrants of woe this year. We are bottom of the league in, and maybe we have a great rebounder in Gobert, but it's compensated. It's not compensating the loss of just offensive firepower.
Honestly, this is like kind of a hard thing to say, but like, would we rather have Greg Monroe on a $50,000 contract or whatever it was, or Rudy Gobert right now? And have or so have Greg Monroe with Vando, with Pat Bev, with Malik Beasley, or would you have Gobert right now? And it's like, I mean, because like, I mean, they're different players, obviously, but like, it's still somewhat similar in like the like slower mindset and a little bit more like rebound focused and like around the basket play. But I mean, I'm a big Greg Monroe fan, and I would have liked to have him back instead of Rudy right now, and have all those other
Yeah.
players.
Yeah, and insert any player really there, like Isaiah Stewart, like any player that's just like a big dude that could be minutes on the
Yeah,
court. Irvin Johnson, ring a bell to anyone, like from the days of KG, just needed 4 minutes of Irvin Johnson out there, right, as the big dude, just to take up time, take up minutes. I yeah, uh, everyone's a 3 point shooter now. Your value is evaluated if you're a 3 point shooter. If you are not, you're devalued. You are less than. You are not someone that we need to look at.
Mhm.
Like it's crazy, and the trade didn't get us there. And now, when we look at flexibility, and now when we're looking at like what moves can we make, we are kind of hamstrung. And this
Yeah.
trade did that to us. Like we could have, as we said in prior broadcasts, like who else was fielding offers for Gobert? Why did
Mhm.
we oversell for a player that we were so confident in? And why is the trend in the NBA threes and space and free
Mhm.
throws and size, uh, at length at the 3 point line, flexibility there, and we go in another direction? Why was it the Timberwolves that did the other thing? And
Yeah.
why are we not riding? It's hard for me to kind of even understand why we did that trade,
Yeah.
because it was it to like augment Cat's ability and output.
Mhm.
Hopefully that was like a reason why, but like like the Goberts, the or no, like the Embiids, the Jokic's, and then we have the Giannis's and the Zions, big burly dudes that get theirs. They get to the line a lot. Gobert doesn't get to the line. Gobert doesn't get touches. Cat doesn't get to the line. We got a lot. You're like, what are we taking advantage of now? Like, what rule are we breaking? Who,
Mhm.
Gobert doesn't have a step back, right?
No.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm just saying, like, what are we doing with this idea of a twin tower kind of lineup where it's so outdated?
Mhm. Yeah, it's so outdated, and we seemingly don't know how to play with each other, or don't know how we're wanting to even play with each other. So, because like looking back earlier in the season with Cat and Gobert, like it wasn't fun. Like that wasn't like a super easy combo to have out on the floor. Um, but
I am
yeah,
having absolute deja vu right now. This time last year, similar record. I was like, there's an hour left to your year. Go celebrate with your friends and family. Go
Mm-hmm.
drink to you and your health and whatever the hell other things you care about in life. Because
Yeah.
the Timberwolves ain't doing it for us this year. And I
Yeah.
remember saying kind of almost in those words what I'm saying now, because I think we probably, didn't get a Christmas game, got a New Year's Eve game, like all this other dumb shit. So I'm rooting for a positive 2023. I'm rooting for a successful season overall. Where what does success mean? Well, we have to reevaluate that by every game. I think
Mm-hmm.
um, while 60 wins is technically possible, 52 wins is basically impossible. Is 42 wins in play? Well, soft teaser for next year with our copious amounts of content that may or may not happen.
May or may not happen for sure.
We'll answer that question. Is 42 wins in play?
Yeah, I guess tune in next time. I don't know, and I'm not going to go off on a rant on this, but remember when we definitely didn't do one recording of our
Oh
season
yeah.
preview, where I had a really low record and then redid it and had a really high record.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, that was bad. So, anyways, don't look at our old videos because the takes will be wild. Um, but our
Well,
upcoming
dude,
schedule,
just saying. Like when Jimmy Butler got traded to the Timberwolves, I thought we were going to go fucking 72 and like 10.
yeah, yeah,
So
and we
it's
thought
okay
we
to
were
be
going to be a
wrong,
we thought we were going to be a top 4 seed this year, maybe even a 1 seed. Um,
and we weren't alone in that, by the way.
no, we weren't. It's not like we were having some hot take or something like that, but like it clearly, obviously, we're not going to be the 1 seed.
Yeah.
We're not going to be close. So we're going to be in the play-in game again, maybe.
Maybe
So
currently not slated for that.
yeah, what are we, like 12th or something like that?
We might be in line with the Lakers, if not below the Lakers now, and that is embarrassing.
That is bad. Like that is so bad. But upcoming schedule, you already mentioned it earlier in the chat, but we play on Monday. We play the Nuggets. Um, we play the Blazers on Wednesday, and then we play the Clippers on Friday. All home games, potentially all losses. We could easily be 16 and 24 by the end of next week. Which at that point, if we are 16 and 24, I think moves happen. I don't know what moves happen. I don't even know who would be moved, what things would happen, but like things are going to happen. Um, I don't know if tonight is going to spur that. I know I see in the chat from Gerald, and in the Discord from Gerald. Apparently, there was like some players only meeting that players are like declining to comment on. But it's I don't know if tonight's going to spur that. Maybe it does, but I think we're just going to have to wait and see until next week. And if next week, by the time we've played the Clippers, if we're 16 and 24, like I don't know when you're going to see us again. Like it's turning into a lo-fi Timberwolves stream,
Yeah, man.
and that's it. So,
Yeah.
man, people don't like losing their jobs. Seeing people lose their jobs, that Finch needs to go.
Mhm.
Maybe. I don't know. I just don't know. I mean, if we're 16 and 24 by next week, like that's a problem. And like I said earlier, I don't know if coaching is like the solution to this because I don't think a new coach makes this team click suddenly. But um, I don't know. I just don't know. You have any final thoughts of 2022 before we head into a new year?
Well, according to Katie Storm's StatStorm, this has been the most successful season since the 2004 KG era. Or sorry, it's not season, year
Yeah.
of Timberwolves basketball since the KG era, 2020 or 2003, 2004. That's a
So this is
stat.
this is what fun feels like.
Yeah. And here's a rope. And
Yeah. Oh my
well, you
goodness.
guys have 57 minutes over there in the mid coast to go
Yes.
celebrate the rest of our lives together. So go do that. And I hope that at least we provide some amount of copium slash therapy slash just, you know, put your mind at ease or get that blood boiling, like
Yeah.
anywhere in between, because that's where the Wolves are too.
We just want you to feel.
We want you to
That's
feel, yeah.
yeah.
That's what we
That's
want.
our goal.
That's our goal. Yeah.
Yes.
All you
What is it?
people out there, what you feeling? You feeling something
Yeah.
tonight?
What was our what was the thing that we kept saying last year? Like men will come.
Men will
That was
come. What are
yes.
we talking about?
And what are we talking about?
Men
Okay.
do come.
Well,
That's right. That's men do come.
my thoughts are please make this not be the best year in all of Timberwolves franchise history. Let's
Oh yeah.
please have that be next year. Because I can't. I mean, I said it last year. Like that playing game gave me a lot of life, and that'll be my memory going forward.
That playing
Of
game was legit.
the playing game was so fun. I was able to go to the playing game and like be there for such impactful moments, and like us winning the championship. Who cares that everybody memes it? Like I don't care. But like it was so fun to be there, and that was like the time of my life. But maybe that's the only time of my life. And I'm realizing that more and more every day. Um,
Yep. The
but
reality
anyways,
is life sucks.
life sucks, and that's where we're gonna leave you tonight.
Yeah.
So, nice long hour and a half show.
Hey,
Uh,
welcome back.
yeah.
Welcome back to form.
I don't know when we'll be back live, but if you want to check us out, turn on post notifications. Um, we go live after some games, and subscribe to us, like the video, and Theo, stop.
We got Nathan
Sorry.
join the Discord. So join the Discord.
Yeah, join the
It's really fun to
Discord.
be in.
That's where we all talk about a bunch of random stuff. But cool. Well, 52 wins is still possible. Um, as tradition, intro as the outro. We'll see you some other time.
In the new
Bye.
year,
In the new year.
probably.
We'll see you next year maybe.